And it's interesting, right? Because there's a whole big argument about this in the States, but I don't think you should be ending human life if your primary concern is that, you know, oh, I'm too young, I need to experience more. Experience what? What, restaurants? How many restaurants do you have to go to?
Yeah.
How many times you got to go eat until you eventually realize you're going to eat shit? I mean, like, I don't see what else there is worth doing.
Okay.
Well, what about in cases of rape?
Yeah, I think just we'll put that one. Maybe you didn't.
No, we can talk about that one. But every single time the abortion argument is brought up, this very specific case is brought up. Let's be honest, that's less than 0.1%.
But in those cases, if they're raped, would you accept an abortion?
I think that if you're raped by somebody completely random on the street and a rapist did this to you, then yeah, I think the idea of an abortion makes a lot more sense, sure. But to say that abortion's okay because women sometimes get raped, like that's a false, that's a false narrative.
In a specific case, you know?
It's in a specific case. But I think if you're with a man and you're having sex with that man and you get pregnant by that man, you should just accept the responsibilities like a fucking adult and have some life. And the thing is, as you grow older, if you don't have a bunch of children, your later years are filled with deaths as opposed to being filled with births and life. I think if you don't have a family, or you don't have children, as you get older, the twilight years of your life are just everybody you know slowly dying, and there's no new life injected. So I think it's very important to do, and maybe young people don't understand that in time. But all in all, I think there's nothing more worthwhile for people to do than have children. And if you can financially afford it, then that's what you should do.
I want to know more about you. How many languages do you speak?
One. Why would I learn any other language besides the perfect language, English? English is the number one best language
I'm
on
gonna
earth.
quote Cap on that.
I saw your brother post on his story that he was looking for an Arabic and Russian teacher.
My brother can learn languages. He enjoys it. He wants to, right? But I refuse to speak any other language than English for two very important reasons.
I feel like you're saying that just so people don't know how many languages you speak.
I'm telling you.
He just low-key be understanding
Yeah,
everyone.
he just listens
I
to
only speak English. But but you know what? It's actually interesting. In this part of the world, in Eastern Europe where I live, Romania, etc., it's very common. In fact, it's completely considered normal for people to speak more than one language because everyone speaks their host language and some English. It's very normal. Yeah. When English is your first language, knowing a second language is extremely unusual. Yeah. It's very rare to know a second language and English is your first language.
Okay, but if you had to learn a second language, what would it be?
I don't think I don't want to know a second language.
If you had to.
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it would be Russian or Arabic, but the problem with learning a second language is no matter how hard I study, I will never be as compendious and concise and interesting and compelling in that second language as I am in English.
Yeah, because like perfect.
I'm perfect in English. So why would I speak in a language which I don't speak as well as in English?
It's a theoretical question.
I know, but I'm just explaining why I don't learn another language.
All right, now you are top G.
Thank you.
All right,
I'll take that.
But as top G, have you ever been scammed?
No, I don't. In recent history, no, I don't think. Now you've asked that question, I don't think I've ever given money to anybody or anything, and I either gave it knowing I wouldn't get it back.
But okay, even though knowing you might not get it back, has someone kind of pulled the fast one on you?
Never. Because if someone goes, oh, hey, I've got this idea, and I'll like, okay, this is never gonna work, but he's an old friend, so I've done that. But that's literally me giving the money away. Okay. I've never been scammed. No, I've never been scammed.
All right. Now, obviously, you were banned on all platforms, but recently you got unbanned on Twitter.
Yeah.
Was that because of Elon Musk?
Looks like it. The big G, big E.
Are you guys friends?
I guess so. He must like me. Hey, Elon. Hey, like, go to the moon.
Have you ever spoke with Elon Musk?
Not yet.
Okay.
Would you like to?
Sure. I mean, I know that in the timeline on my trajectory, with my time on the planet, the chance of me speaking to Elon is 100%.
All right. What's your weirdest celebrity encounter, or celebrity encounter?
That's a good question. I wouldn't say it's the weirdest, but certainly probably, in fact, not probably, 100% definitely the coolest was Steven Seagal. Okay. So I met Steven Seagal, and I met him multiple times, and we spoke for hours and hours at length. And Steven Seagal is a childhood hero of mine. He's always been one of my heroes. His movies are my favorite movies. And they say never meet your heroes, but that's not true with Steven Seagal. Meet him, because he is completely based. He understands the truth about the world, the truth about the Matrix, the truth about the lies they tell you in the West, the truth about the lies of the media. He's completely based head to toe, extremely intelligent, great to be around, and Steven Seagal's a badass.
So I saw you're hanging out with Aiden Ross. So how's it?
Oh yeah, that's a relationship.
You guys are
that
a really
I love.
cool duo. I must admit.
I want to meet Aiden, to be honest,
like,
just because of the relation you guys have.
Do y'all have like sleepovers now?
I mean, Isn't he at your house right now, or did he leave?
He's flown back now. So he flew here to see me, but he's gone.
So how is it?
Aiden has potential. It's my goal to try and fix him and make him realize and reach his potential. But it's difficult because he's living in a
little bubble.
Yeah, he's living in a bubble inside of America, and there's a whole bunch of garbage around him. We'll see if we can instill some discipline in him or not. We'll see.
Now, I have a question. Do you take medicine?
No. Well, it depends. Well,
I mean,
currently, no. I try
saying,
very hard not to. But if I'm not going to reject malaria meds if I'm dying.
No, like let's say like a Panadol.
No, zero.
Is that like
I don't take painkillers.
So you never get headaches or?
That is one thing. You know, my father used to go nuts about that when I was young, and I didn't understand it. And now, like every other thing with my father, I completely understand how right he was. No. This idea, we're going to fix this now on this podcast. We're going to fix the world. Buckle up.
Yeah.
This idea of random headaches is bullshit. It's bullshit. If you have a headache, it's for a reason. Did you hit your head? Yes or no? Well, no, you didn't hit your head. So are you dehydrated? Probably. Have you drunk a bunch of water? Yeah. If you really drink a bunch of water and you didn't hit your head and your head still hurts, have you laid down, had a little nap? Maybe you were tired. Now you feel okay again. Why are you taking drugs? I know people who just randomly 4 times a week, I have a headache. Let me just take this pill. What headache? Was your brain falling out? Is your brain rotting? Why do you have a headache for no reason? It doesn't make sense to me. It's stupid. A lot of it's psychological. A lot of it's placebo effect bullshit. And it's an entirely wrong worldview. You can't just go through life medicating yourself for imaginary fucking illness. It's dumb.
So you mentioned psychological. So a lot of teens or young people or even adults, they're suffering from a lot of mental health issues.
Okay.
And what's your advice to them?
The world is hyper competitive. If you're going to be a man who's going to sit and say, I'm just sad, you are always going to lose in competition to men like me. Yeah. And there has to be losers for there to be winners. I am tired of sympathy. Sympathy doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to sit here and be sympathetic for people who say they're too sad to try hard and be their best. Guess what? Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have a fucking ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. Stay down there. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. We wake up and we perform regardless of how we feel day after day. So if I'm going to ignore my own feelings, I'm certainly not going to take into consideration anybody else's. Yeah. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. I can't comment on being a woman because I'm not one. But the baseline of masculinity as a whole is the thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to go to war and he fights anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. We didn't want to die in the Titanic. Guess what happened? We died in the Titanic. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. Yeah. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a fucking loser. No problem. Stay a loser. Don't care. Because in my circle, there's no losers around me. Your energy is disgusting. I find it revolting. I don't like weakness around me, even near me. Even people coming up saying hello to me. If you're depressed, don't even shake my hand. I do not have time for losers on any regard. Winners only.
Yeah. Now, what's your biggest fear?
I don't like the ocean.
I'm terrified of the ocean.
Why? Because there's fucking sharks in there.
Oh, okay.
It's dark.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And deep.
Like whenever I jump in the ocean from a yacht, like I have to swim back straight away.
Same, straight back.
away.
Yeah, so we agree on that one.
All right,
we agree on that one. I can't be in water and it's like way low below and there's things. Nah. No way.
Like people find it weird. Like one of my biggest fears is an animal. It's not even a shark. It's a whale.
Yeah.
Whale.
Because it'll accidentally just swallow you up with the plankton.
Oh my God.
Everyone goes, whales don't eat people. How do you know?
If they open their mouth, you're in there.
You're done. That's it. They're not going to be like...
might spit you out.
Oh yeah, halfway down his throat, you could be like, you're not supposed to eat me, bro.
With all the acid in there.
What is that? Let me spit him out.
You're toast. No way. And there's jellyfish and fuck all that. You know what scares me most about the ocean? You know the Mariana Trench, the deepest part in the ocean. That's deeper than a commercial flight's cruising height. So when you're on a plane and you look out the window,
it's higher than that.
When you're up on a plane, you look out the window, all that depth at the Mariana Trench, it's actually deeper than that. That is insane to me. So when I look out, every time I look out a plane's window, it's just kind of, I know it's a weird connection, but every time I look out the window of a plane, I'm like, never go in the ocean again.
Yeah, I hate it.
Never go in the ocean again. No way.
What do you think about this whole identify me as a they, the he, she, they, them culture?
I think that it's a pathetic attempt at individualism. People want to be individualistic. People like the idea of getting attention. It's a very easy way to garner attention from the universe without any kind of merit. The traditional way to get attention in the world is to do something which is merit worthy.
Yeah.
I had to go out and become a world champion kickboxer and fight and become rich and become important and say interesting things for people to pay attention to me. But if you're a loser and there's absolutely nothing about you which is special or unique and you want attention, you can sit and try and police other people's language with this complete garbage because it's going to attract attention, whether negative or positive. Some people are going to support you, some people are going to be negative about it, and either way, it's attention. So it's purely attention-seeking bullshit, but that's not what's scary about it. What's genuinely dangerous about it is two things. One, the idea that they're trying to propagate it on the children. The fact that they will not leave children alone and they're going to sit there with children while their minds form and try and push these idiotic agendas on them is more than criminal. It's genuinely satanic and it's disgusting. Leave the children alone. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're LGBTQ. I don't care if you want to call yourself a zebra. I don't care if you want to stand on your head. I don't care what anybody wants to do in their own private life with their own private time. But I do care what you try and tell my kids. My children, they are mine. And everybody else who's raising children should have the prerogative to decide what they are told and taught. You cannot sit there and force these agendas on children. This is the first thing. And the second thing I don't like is when they try and police other people's speech. There are certain countries in the world today, Canada being one of them, whereas if someone decides to change their pronoun, if I decide to become a she, unless you call me a she, you are breaking the law. You are forcing and mandating by law for other people to participate in a delusion, because that's exactly what it is a delusion. And forcing other people to believe in delusions by law is wrong. So I don't have anything against it on the individual level, but when it expands out on the societal level, it offends me.
Okay, so how would you raise your kids?
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask. I was like, you said about kids, so how would